Hello, Penguin. Hello, everybody. Hello, Dax. Oh man, I have so much stuff to catch up on. Um, I don't even know where to start. Hello, Eternal Cable. Yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah, I got sick, man, and I don't know. It took me a while to get back on track. Uh, yeah. Thank you, Neurosite. So, yeah, what are we doing? I don't know. I don't even know. So, I have a pile of so I updated Zine to 0.16, and there's a pile of regressions that relate to Translate C that I need to report. Awebo also suffered a bunch from Translate C regressions. And I think I have some local changes that I need to push to Ziggy. Yeah, there's quite a few things. So I think I'm gonna start with Zine stuff. Also, there's the new Fuzzer stuff that in theory should work, but I want to see it work. Like, I want to see the new Fuzzer actually find stuff. I have a half finished PR. Zor. Well, Ziculite that is Translate C related. Oh, really? So wait, even SQLite? Regressed? Like it was latency stuff? Holy shit. 4. Okay. Jesus. Yeah, so I think that what we need to do is make sure that we report those it works on 016 but not on master anymore. Okay. Oh, but okay, so then I'm guessing it's not like a regression, it's just something that changed in the meantime, like some API thing. Didn't see that in the release notes? No, there is. Hello Temporus. Uh there is a mention of the fuzzer, I think, in the release notes. I was trying to help with the release notes, but I was only able to update Zine because then I got turbo sick, and so everybody else had to do the rest of the work. But I am fairly sure there's a mention of the fuzzer in here. Yeah, look, there's a section dedicated to the fuzzer. So yeah, I think this is gonna be my to-do list for today. Also, as usual, if anybody wants to talk about anything Zig related, um, I'm obviously available to do that. Come on, stupid macOS. I'm obviously available with the only caveat that I've been out of the game for a couple weeks, so there's that. So I think that my list of priorities is I think I should start with Ziggy, because Ziggy has a boring but necessary merge conflict that I need to resolve. And then we push that on master branch so that we have the master branch of Ziggy as best as it can be. Then I would cycle back to Scripty and wire in the fuzzer and see how the fuzzer deals with Scripty. We can try out the Smith interface, and we can see if it finds stuff, etc. Crashing inputs are now saved to a file indicated by the crash message. It is recommended to use these files to reproduce the crash using SED fuzz input options.corpus and add embed file. Yep. So let's see how this goes. Okay, let's start with the boring stuff. The boring stuff. Oh, I have a bajillion tabs open also. You know what? I think we're saving one and then we're saying goodbye to every other one. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. What? Why did I close all my ghosty tabs? So, what? If I close this, that should not close all my other tabs, man. God damn it. Hey, Soap. How's it going? I don't know. We're having Zig moments. This is the Zig moment of I don't know. Just Zig moment after Zig moment. One could say that life is a sequence of Zig moments. Okay, this is not updated, understandably, because I didn't save it. So, Zigging. I don't know. Okay. So what is the problem here? So we have the old branch. That one is just for Zine retrocompatibility. Git switch main. The following untracked working tree files would be overwritten by checkout. Test, and then the grammar, but just the generated stuff. There's an editor Z directory, which is untracked, apparently. I'm pretty sure that this has been pushed. This is not just local changes that I have here. Let's just dash, whatever. Oh, but they're untracked. Okay. Maybe we can check out. Let's see. Git checkout editors. What else? Hello, Quint. After completing implementation of the self-hosted Arch64 backend, is there any impact on binary size compared to previous backend? You cannot compare at the moment the self-hosted backend with the previous backend, which is LLVM, because when binary size matters is when you make a release, and the custom backends of Zig are not for making releases at the moment. Right now, they are only meant to be fast for creating debug builds. So the idea is that you're developing, and the Zig custom backend makes it much, much faster to produce a debug executable. And so what's going to be the binary size of a debug build from the custom backend versus what you get from LLVM? I don't know. There's going to be difference. Maybe the LLVM one will be smaller, probably. But it doesn't matter because it's a debug executable. So custom backends are for ease of development right now. They are not for making releases that release executables, release builds that are competitive with LLVM. There are plans in the future to do that, but that is not the current goal. The current goal is just to make development faster. Okay, so we were finally able to switch branch. Success. Your branch is ahead of origin main by one commit. Maybe. Update to 0.16. Yes, but then there's also git switch. What are the other branches that I have? New. Small changes plus 0.16 compatibility. Yeah, this is the one that I want to merge. Okay, so I need to merge this commit on on the main branch latest commit, the problem is that they both contain 0.16 stuff, but they're both incomplete. It's a messy situation. So, let's see. What's the status of GPU programming in Zig? I found the challenge repo, but nothing else. Seems like Zig is capable of compiling directly into PTX. PTX? So the state of GPU programming in Zig is that there's a backend which is incomplete for generating SPIR-V. So the idea is that once that backend will be is complete, then you will be able to write in Zig, SPIR-V shaders, and I guess that means doing either graphical stuff or compute stuff, depending on what you need. But that is currently not complete, and I think there's also some language proposals that relate to that are not yet fully implemented. For example, having language support for vectors and matrices. And when I say these, I mean specifically GPU, like SPIR-V vectors and matrices. Yeah, so we have vector, which is going to be renamed to SIMD. So long story short, there has been some progress. The backend is not complete. So until the backend is complete, you're not going to be able to produce to use it for general purpose stuff. Some important milestones have been reached. For example, I believe that for GPU is important to have, or at least it's useful to have the ability to annotate pointers with which region of memory they belong to. That was accepted and I believe also implemented a while ago. But there's more work that needs to happen. There's an issue to add vector for type for easier shader development. That's under development. The language proposal for adding GPU vectors and matrices, the proposal has been accepted, but there hasn't been much design work yet. So I would say that it's in an earlier stage than under development. It's not done yet, sure. It's like pending to be done. But there's also some design work still that I believe is missing. That being said, it's 100% on the list of things that Zig will be, that we believe Zig should support fully. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. So, are we cherry picking this commit? I think we're cherry picking this commit and then fixing all the issues that we have. Edit. Quit. Continue. Abort. Skip. So that means that we need to switch to main. Cherry pick this, which causes some conflicts. That is, yeah, fair. Just this? Just this? Just this? It's not on the roadmap, so Metro no count on it yet. I mean, you can count on the fact that Zig will eventually have support for generating, have a SPIR-V backend and have support for generating SPIR-V, maybe also other formats, but at the very least, SPIR-V support. So uh, on that fact, you can count on it. On what exactly the timeline is going to be before this feature becomes generally available, that part I don't know. I don't have visibility because part of it depends also on contributor availability. Like the custom the SPIR-V backend made some progress at some point because Snectron was working on it. Then I don't know if Snectron is still working on it. Then I believe also Ali Chiragi worked on it. I don't even know if Ali has internet right now because Ali is from Iran and God knows what the fuck is going on um, right now there. So um, yeah, there's at the very least that. I mean, it's not like I wanted more merge conflicts. I'm just surprised and slightly worried about the lack of merge conflicts. That's just it. I expected worse. So we both had trim right. Holy shit. Oh man, this is actually good. This is catching that as I was doing the 016 update, changing trim right and trim left to trim start and trim end, in one commit I turned this into trim start, in another one I turned it into trim end. Um, that is bad because that means that I mean this is a wrong translation. Like this is the wrong branch. And interesting. So well, good catch. What can I say? Oh, did I was supposed to do git add? Oh yeah. Okay. Just let's just take a quick look at what everything looks like. Commented out some YAML stuff. Comma. Yeah, I'm not gonna read everything in detail, but just a general idea to see if it at least vaguely makes sense. Seems fine. Well, I guess we can do this. Zig build, see if we can build successfully an executable, and then we are gonna run tests. There we go. Use an undeclared identifier node. CLI converted Zig. Oh, I think I regressed YAML conversion completely. So why are we picking it up? I have this. But I guess somewhere I have an FS. SCWD? It's in convert. This surprises me. This surprises me. Hmm. Okay. Uses undeclared identifier built in. Yeah, interesting. Where did that guy go? Well, you know what? Also, I'm gonna do build watch. So, well, wait. We definitely fixed this. Is there another FS? There's that. Although these are the YAML branches, which are probably turned off somehow. Anyway, what's your next problem? Use an undeclared identifier node in YAML and then convert 15. Oh, CWD read file. Oh, this guy needs more stuff, right? Fair needs IO. Is this it? There is no write all, line 50. Write all string. Hmm. Oh, is it right? Write streaming all? Yeah. Okay. Um. Then we have the problem with clean exit that expects one argument. Don't tell me it expects IO. Okay. Okay, and we're left with just this. So YAML.zig tries to reference something that doesn't exist, but why do we even care? Oh, it seems select convert YAML.zig, right? This is it. And it tries to referencing something called node. Uh-oh. I guess node is something that we deleted the definition for. Probably it was YAML.node. Uh, this is probably wrong, but just to see if we can get it to stop complaining. Assert use undeclared identifier, no exit. How did also no exit die? That is, where does this, where even is this state supposed to be coming from? A global? Huh. Okay, again, this stuff is all regressed, so it's fine. I just want to get the regress stuff to not bother completion nor testing. Perfect. So that we can push. And then we can deal about restoring this stuff later on. So I'm gonna do GA search, GC amend. I think I'm gonna um I'm also gonna uh glue the last two commits together. So what is it? Git merge uh interactive head. Something like this. Head till the 5. like the last few commits. How does it work? Hmm. You need to rebase, not merge. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Hi all. Before I give up, can someone please help how namespace operator and access operator really works in Zig? I come from plus colon plus dot backgrounds. In Zig, there is no special thing for namespaces. So in Zig, everything is essentially structs. So when you do const foo, or let's say that you want to create a struct that is just a pure namespace, so it doesn't have state, you don't create instances of it, you just want to namespace something. So you do const, I don't know, utils, and create an empty struct definition, and then in here you put your utilities. So I don't know, pub function foo takes a boolean, returns a boolean, I don't know. Now, let's say that this foo function is your utility, and then elsewhere you use it like this. You do, like, for example, in this function, you can do if utils dot, and you can see that the LSP will suggest also foo because it exists in there, and then you do whatever it is that you need to do. So long story short, there's no colon in Zig. It's just dot, no matter what. So you do dot both to access fields in a struct that has state, but you also use dot to access decals inside of a struct type. This utils is a struct type. And so when you do struct type dot something, you access its namespace declarations, functions, variables, constants. If instead you do const person, and person has, let's say that it has age. When you do this, so person can have age, and then there's also some other utility that you put in here, like for example, const leg number of legs, right? I don't know. For some reason, you have person, you have all the things that have different numbers of legs, and so you decide to put leg num in here. But leg num is not state specific to an individual person. In the way I'm modeling stuff right now, leg num is just a constant that for convenience you want to put inside person, because so that you can do person.legnum, then I don't know, dog.legnum, whatever. So in this case, it works like this. You do person dot, and that allows you to access legnum. It doesn't allow you to access age because age is a field. So you need an instance of a person to be able to access age, but you can do const p person. You can say age equals, I don't know, 30. And now you can do p dot age to access its age. And you cannot do p dot legnum because legnum is not instance specific state. Legnum is just a namespace declaration. So you need to go from the type, not from an instance of the struct. Well, these are the basics. So long story short, you don't even have to think hard about it. It kind of flows naturally. Okay, so what are we doing now? Now that we pushed merged all these changes to Ziggy, I think we can now switch to Scripty and see if we can restore fuzz testing and see how that looks like. And I'm starting with Scripty because it's simply the simplest of these projects. So it's easiest to do experimentation with. Let's take a look at what we have in the release notes. So the slice parameter of fuzz test has been replaced with STD testing Smith. This new interface is used to generate values from the fuzzer. Hello X2. And it contains the following base methods. Value for generating any type. EOS for generating end of stream markers provides the additional guarantee that true will eventually be returned. Bytes for filling a byte array, slice for filling part of a buffer and providing length. Values can be given a probability of being selected with weights. This is useful to make interesting values be chosen more often, reduce the chance for more work, constrain selectable values. In an empty slice of weights, every value has a weight of 0 and will not be selected. Weights can only be used with types fitting in 64 bits. Each base method has corresponding ones that accept weights. Additionally, the following functions are provided. Baseline weights, bool weighted for conveniently weighting true and false. Value range at most and value range less than for generating only a range of values. Each method also has a counterpart which accepts a hash where values with the same hash are more likely to be mutated in respect to each other. The regular methods already uses hashes based off the caller's return address, so it's usually redundant to directly call these functions, but it can be useful in case of inlining. So let's see. You had a fuzz test where you accepted an input and then you looked at the input, summed it up, and expected the sum to be different than a specific number. This now becomes accepting a Smith and then saying EOS weighted simple. So this returns, I don't know what the two numbers are, but this is basically returning whether we are done or not, like an end condition with these numbers that define the probability. And then, oh, I guess it's 7 to 1, like 7 probability of 7 to 1 to return false. Which is essentially what you would get with a uniform distribution if you were to use a single byte Boolean value, I guess. Then the sum happens through Smith.value. And then there's the final thing. Okay, so multiprocessing, infinite mode, crash dumps, numerous bugs found. Okay, let's see if we can find some bugs in Scripty this way, or, or we inject some bugs ourselves and we expect it to be able to find those and see what happens. So what do we have here? Because I don't even remember what is the state of things. I think the starting point should be tokenizer. So there's a main function for benchmarking. Fine. there are some test cases, and then there's the logic. There is no fuzzing test case. So let's add a fuzzing test case. Can we inject a failure in this guy? Because the idea is that we would like the fuzzer to generate inputs at random and then test them. The problem is that there really is no way of crushing the tokenizer. I mean, the tokenizer could behave wrongly. That's a possibility. But fuzzing requires you to essentially recognize failure conditions as crashes. And, right now we don't have a way of doing that. We don't have an oracle. So, yeah, I think I'm going to leave this guy be. The next layer is the parser, which I think it's much more likely to be subject to bugs of various kinds, because I have had bugs in here in the past. And also, I think that there are some assertions here and there that we can trip on purpose. Hello. I watched some of your talks on YouTube, and I agree that we need a simple and straight subset of HTML that is still HTML, but omits all ambiguities, legacy, and quirks stuff. Oh, yeah. Have you ever considered developing an official spec for SHTML? So for SHTML, as in the templating language, my templating language, I think that one, it doesn't care too much about specifically what is the same subset of HTML or not. I mean, it does matter to some degree, but I would argue as a templating language is not all that important. What I have considered, but that is not something that I will realistically attempt very easily. Definitely not alone. I think that I would need somebody else to be hit by the same insanity to ever attempt. But the idea that I floated with Andrew was to make a browser where in the browser definition, when we make the browser, we define the subset of HTML that we consider to be sane. Subset of HTML, subset of CSS, and subset of JavaScript that we consider to be sane. With the idea being that you pick a subset that is, expressive enough so that you can do stuff with the thing, but also that one that cuts away completely all the weird, quirky, incomprehensible stuff. So for example, we take away eval from JavaScript. I think that's probably an easy win. Take that away. JavaScript cannot produce strings that then it turns into code, etc. And so at that point, you make essentially a browser that is able to recognize whether a website is using that subset or not. And when you're using that subset, we use our own engine that is ideally significantly leaner and faster than a normal browser engine because it's restricted to the good same subset. But then if you go to a website where that is not the case, then what we do is that my idea was that we don't give you an error, obviously, but what we do is that instead we spawn a Chromium tab, and we put a banner that says, sorry, this tab is going to suck ass because it's going to be slow, it's going to be memory hungry, because the website that you're visiting has shitty HTML/CSS/JavaScript. And so, and then I guess as a user, you know what you're getting, essentially. When you're getting something that is optimal versus something that is definitely not. That's the idea. And I think that approaching it this way is actually feasible, because the idea is browser, whenever you make a browser, you have a humongous pile of things that you have to worry about, right? That in terms that you need to make sure that you make work, otherwise websites don't work. um, but in our case, the idea would be that we systematically make sure to do the optimal thing for websites that want to, quote unquote, work with us, with websites that are designed to not be crap. And as long as the website keeps staying crap, then it keeps staying in the Chromium tab, and that's it, and it works. So as a user, it's not like, you know, you have what's funny enough, the way it would work is that this would be potentially a usable browser day one, right? Because you start by delegating everything to Chromium, and then bit by bit you start doing native more and more support of stuff until you reach a point where more is usable. So I don't know. I think it's realistic. It's still a lot of work, but I do think it's realistic. It's something that could be achieved. Hello, Alcras. Crunch time or holidays? Neither. I got sick. I think people in English call it strep throat. So I just got this stupid fucking bacteria thing, which got me very sick. Then I started getting antibiotics, and the antibiotics also were making me sick. Well, less sick though. It's like better than with the bacteria, but you know, not as good as without any of that stuff. So I had to finish the cycle. That's it. I came across a video testing an old Pentium 4 machine. Could playback video through VLC, no issues, but as soon as YouTube tries, it dies so fast. Yeah, rip. Maybe they were getting AV1 from YouTube. I don't know, or some other stupid ass codec. Okay, so give me a sec. I'll be right back in a second, and then we start fuzzing the parser, and we inject failures. Oh, it's gonna be so easy injecting failures in this parser. So I'll be right back. Hello, I'm back. What am I missing? Do. Hello, Calder. When it comes to WebAssembly based, like I don't. Alternative web is not the right term, but related to what you guys were discussing, there are at least two examples that come to mind. One is Orca, Orca app.dev, I think, where Orca is, is this idea that you have WebAssembly applications that instead of being web applications, as in HTML plus JavaScript or Electron wrapped HTML plus JavaScript. Instead, you write them in whatever language, you target a VM. So it's not even WASI. They do WebAssembly plus their own OS layer APIs. I think in particular, Orca had some interesting ideas with regards to how, for example, the network would work. I believe their idea was that the network should be packet based. I forget all the details, but in any case, the idea was also to experiment a little bit with what it is that the OS should give you instead of just doing POSIX. Wasn't Time I also do WASI stuff? Yeah, Wasn't Time does. Wasn't Time does support WASI, yeah. But WASI doesn't have graphics. So for graphics, you always need to do something else. And I think that Orca also had some interesting ideas with regards to that. Another project is Playbit. So this started as a operating system. It's kind of the same as Orca, except they started with the idea of let's make an entire operating system. So you install Playbit as an OS, and then you can do stuff. You can make application for this OS, but this OS is supposed to be simpler than normal OSs. So I guess they started as a like it had, I don't know, like let's say Commodore Energy. I think that the main creator of Playbit is one of those people that grew up with the Commodore, so they believe that you can have an operating system like I'll say simplistic, but I don't mean necessarily in a bad way. A simplistic operating system that you can play around with, just like they were able to do with the Commodore and other similar computers. But then what happened is that they pivoted. So you can see that operating system, this used to be the main thing, but the operating system, and apparently they got it this far. So there's, so there's some window management going on, apparently. But they put the OS on hold and decided to first do this as a user space application in a pre-existing operating system, essentially making this a different take on the same thing that Orca is. So you have the host platform, and then you have the Playbit runtime, which runs your WebAssembly stuff, and you can either do direct syscalls to their runtime, or you can go through their C library, which means that, that you write a C program, right? And most things should work fine as long. Well, I mean, all the libc stuff, I'm assuming should work fine. Actually, you know what? I'm not sure if the Playbit C library is meant to be a libc for real, or if it's not meant to be libc shaped. But regardless, that's kind of the idea. I don't know. This one has commercial muscle behind it in a way that Orca doesn't. But also, I feel like that Orca had a better understanding of how to innovate rather than what I suspect is the case with Playbit. There's probably more projects of this kind out there. Okay, let's make a fuzz test. Oh no. Well, fuzz test. Okay, so I don't even remember what the boilerplate for fuzzing looks like. Do we have any of these? Do we have a VM fuzz test? We will have this. So okay, so this is the boilerplate. Let me copy it over. Okay, let's test the so there's a fuzz test which calls test one. You know what? Also, I'm gonna do this. Not a separate function. I'm gonna embed this in here. I'm gonna call the function fuzz. And yeah, we need to change the body completely, of course. This should be different. Let's see what we do in here. So context, we don't care. We have a buffer. We fill the buffer up to a point, and then we feed this to the parser. Now, this is fine. Hi, I hope you're doing good. I am, thank you. Great 016 release. One question though, why can't I return a pointer of a local variable from an inline function? The body of the function will be inline, so no harm done, right? That is a good question. So yeah, it could work. I'm guessing the local variable checking stuff ignores if the function is inline or not. Maybe the code that does that checking should be improved to not run if the function is inline. There's a big assumption it will get inlined. Well, when you use the inline keyword in Zig, you have guaranteed inlining. It's not a compiler hint like it is in C and C++. So not only it is the inlining is guaranteed, but there's also some other semantic changes. For example, constness, well, not constness, com time known as of arguments also bleeds into the inline function, because essentially the inline function gets analyzed multiple times. It gets analyzed at every calling side. So it's almost as if you're actually, maybe it's not even as almost, maybe we would need mlag to really know how well this definition fits. But I think at least as an approximation, you can imagine that the function becomes generic with respect to its calling location. its calling site. So every time you call an inline function, you generate a new copy of it, which is kind of what inline means. But in the context of Zig specifically, that means also that semantic analysis happens again. And if one of the arguments in that context is comp time known, then it will be comp time known also inside the inline function. And so if you have an if, the if will be solved at compile time, while otherwise it would not. So it is fair to say that returning a pointer to a local variable in an inline function could work, like mechanically does work. So yeah, so maybe it's the thing that checks that is a little bit more, either that thing is a little bit too aggressive and should be turned off when it's an inline function, or alternatively, and that is, it's kind of an arbitrary choice made by the whoever decides to how the spec should work. Maybe the Zig spec will say that it is always illegal to do so. So even though in that context it would technically work, if you define it as something that you should never do, at that point it's going to be something that you should never do, and so the tool will be right to complain about it. Yeah, I don't know, but thank you for pointing that out. I'll ask Mlog and Andrew when I get a chance. Okay, so what are we doing here? Here we are testing this guy. You know what? I think this is fine. We already have fuzzing in the virtual machine. Let's take a look at this, because I remember that when I wrote this was not working. Hey, thank you for the Prime sub, Calder. Thank you very much. So when I wrote this was not working. This was supposed to catch a bug, but it never did. So let's make this work. Okay, so I'll add some context. We're not fuzzing the tokenizer. We're not fuzzing the parser. We are fuzzing the full virtual machine. So that means that we are, yes, tokenizing, yes, we are parsing, but most importantly, we are also running code connected to a specific evaluation context that we created for the purpose of this test. So test context is a context where you build a scripty expression, and your scripty expression has the ability to navigate into $version, $page. Page contains title and content, site, etc. And this test context has also some functions. So it has, let's see, it has page, it has site, test interpreter, that is fine. Where is the failing stuff though? Because somewhere I put a panic. Test value. Okay, in our definition of value, where's our panic? There we go, crash found. If you call, so this is built-ins for tag, type string built-in. So if you call, so this is saying that on a string, you can call .len, .ext, but you can also call .crash. And if you call .crash, it says crash found. So we expect the fuzzer to be able to land here. Let's test this. So let's add a temporary test that we want to see fail. So Zig build test. As we are right now, it should be fine. I'm not turning on fuzz testing, so that is fine. Let's add a purposely failing test. So a purposely failing test would be this. Crash, we do page title dot crash. because title is a string, and so we are calling crash on a string. And they should panic. Will it panic? It does panic. We do enter crash found. Okay. So that test does cause a crash. So that means that this is reachable. Now, this fuzzer here is not particularly smart. Sorry, the way I'm doing this is not particularly smart. I wonder if I should make this better structured. I don't know. But in any case, this has 1 kilobyte worth of bytes to fuck around with. And then what we do is that we make the fuzzer, we let the fuzzer produce the input string. We don't give it a lot of structure with the smithy, so we just produce a string, fine. Then then we make an arena. Okay, so let me move these inside. Okay, and if I remember correctly, this is not going to do, this is not going to find it. At least not quickly. Uh-oh. What is happening? Compare test runner, expected type, const, debug stack trace, found, built-in stack trace. Uh-oh. Well, that is not me. This is not me. This is interesting. Zig build, let's update. Okay. Okay, so we're fuzzing. So this is running. This is running definitely a lot of loops per second. That is good. Not gaining a lot of coverage. Let's try this. So let's stop this. And maybe we can try using, I mean, we can try using this in a smarter way, but the problem is that I feel like it's kind of disappointing that this guy is not able to, you know what, let's print what it is that it's trying. Failed command. So I see fuzzing. I don't see the print. Bug print is not printing. Um. So why do I not see my input? Should we try to lock STDR? Or you know what? We put a new line in front of it as well. Maybe that defeats the. Also, why is this failing? I think that it is a problem that command is failing. Why is this failing? Oh, but this is not STDR. This is a STDR. Or although, are you saying that I can't even print to STDR? I don't think that is the case. I mean, it's a fuzz test, so it runs in a weird way. Also, let me reset Zig out. No, not Zig out. Zig cache. Failed command. Wait, are you saying that if I comment this out, it stops saying failed command now? It does. Bro. Okay, what the fuck am I supposed to print then? IO file std out. No, I think we're fucking it up as well by printing to standard out. Huh. Well, how do we solve this? Is input even correct? Should it because input equals no? If that were the case, my code wouldn't even compile, would it? If slice returns a slice, then this code would not compile, right? So slice returns how many bytes it wrote to. So we can't use standard out. We can't use standard error. The fuck? How am I supposed to observe what the inputs are? Okay, so here's another thing that we can do. Maybe we can shorten this because we know that ultimately this thing is what is it? 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We can do this with 19. Let's see what happens now. Coverage went up significantly. This is a lot more than it was before, but it's still not making any progress. So I think that the problem is that this fuzzer doesn't have the thing where it makes progress by observing string comparisons, which is annoying and unfortunate. Which is annoying and unfortunate. Because I think it would be able to unstuck itself very easily if it had if it took into account correctly string comparisons when deciding what to try next. I do think though that this logic is uh I do think that this logic is written though I guess in the smithy somehow. The problem is uh, I could try to guide it. The problem is that it's really dumb once I do this work. Like this test loses all its humph once you take that out. It's just not good. So um I'm trying to decide if I want to try and do the work to wire in the smithy to this test, but I don't want to because I know it's a kind of a foolish thing to do. I'm actually tempted to switch to a different project to switch to Super HTML because in Super HTML it does make sense to work with a smithy, and I already have some code for it. Uh, these I feel like it really needs something else from the fuzzer that it currently just does not have. Okay, let's take a look at Super HTML. In Super HTML, I do have somewhere. There we go. I have a generator. Generator. So this is the CLI, and it calls generator HTML. Given a reader and a writer. I guess it reads from the reader and writes to the writer. Okay, let's see again how this guy works. Push that, push this, push that. Okay, it's an enum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I guess this guy can be adapted. Okay, where do we put the fuzzing stuff? Hmm. So what does this guy generate? Templated stuff or normal stuff? Hmm. Oh, here I was using my probability masks. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. So we want to put this guy in, I think. So the problem with generator as it is right now is that it can use from the CLI, but it cannot be driven by the generate by the Smithy directly, can it? Let me see. The main loop is while true, take a byte from the input, turn it into an operation, and then apply the operation, which outputs, which might consume some more input, and then outputs to the writer. Okay. Mm, maybe these should be renamed to become the fastest. Yeah. Okay, let's turn this into let's have the fastest being here. That's fine, I think. I'm gonna rename the file and then move it around. Okay, so here we wanna put the fastest stuff, which is kind of like this. This is essentially going to have this in it. So stack is an array list. Oh, apply needs a stack. Why does apply need a stack? What do we do with the stack? Oh, I see. We pop in case we need to go up. Okay, okay, okay. What is the writer here? Oh, it's passed in. Okay, so our fast test then needs to be like this. It needs a file writer, an allocating writer. Let's call it out case. um, so this is our out writer. Then we need the stack as well. We need the stack. We need the case that we're building. Do we need an arena? We do need an arena for running this stuff. That's fine. But before we get there, we need to build our case, which is essentially this code here. So we take an operation, const op equals Smith dot value range at most. And the value of type OP, right? Yeah. So this is not a while true then. This is a while not Smith dot EOS. Yeah, there we go. Weighted simple. So that was the 7. This is the 721 that we were observing. Generate an operation. If the operation is a new line, do this. If new line is greater than 10, return error.skip. Frankly, this could even be 3, or 5. And then we run apply. Now, apply has to be different now because apply needs to work off of the Smith. So apply needs the allocator, fine. Stack input. Input is the Smith, and then this is case. And then can return an error, which is not error.done. I'm actually curious about what else can happen. Okay, let's look at apply now. What's the Smith type? Testing Smith. Which, by the way, how hard is it to make a new one? Init UID, bytes UID. Anyway, and this is the output, which is a writer. Yeah. So for this to be brighter, we need to pass down I think is this. Yeah. Okay, so not bad. Now we need to change input to be the Smith. So if it's push text, okay. So this is now the probability stuff that we should do through the Smith. Bool bytes weighted with hash. Bytes with hash. Slice weighted value range value with hash. Um what is a slice weighted? Len weights, byte weights. Minimum max weight. This is not really helping me out much. So I cannot give to the fuzzer these values to choose from directly. I still need to make my own probability thing. So this is like 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. So it's a crappy uniform distribution between 4 possible outcomes. So this is like switch Smith dot I guess just value or value range at most or value range less than. I mean, in this case, it can be value and you give it a U4. U4, sorry, a U2. Yeah. This is it. Okay. Then in push element, push self-closing element, RNG. Oh, also this return error dot done I think is not necessary anymore. So we take a byte and we decide if this thing should have a space afterwards or not. And then utters count. Okay. So the new version of this is going to be const final space is Smith dot bool weighted. No, I think it's just value. Because we don't need particular distribution. Like this is a 50-50, so this is fine. Attribute count. Smith dot. This one we do want a weighted value. Value range at most. Value range less than. It is like non-inclusive versus inclusive. At least 0 at most, just to not make it insane. I don't know, 64. In the original code, we could have more than 64 attributes to a single thing, but I mean, that's already overkill. I don't know what this RNG thing does. Let's see. If RNG is lower than tags.len, oh, this is choosing a tag. Okay. Maybe we could make this. Also, what was the other case doing? What was the else case doing? Oh, there was a chance to also um there was a chance to also just have a random attribute name not chosen from the list. That is actually kind of important to be able to do that. This is more something like this. Okay, let me put this back. So this is more like if Smith dot bool weighted two to one, I guess. This is probably supposed to be bigger than 2 to 1, maybe. You know what? Let's do it 5 to 1. Okay. From 0 to attribute count. Okay, in here I'm doing some more random stuff. Let me see if here is any better to do attributes. Right. Sorry to interrupt. A question on Flow Editor. Does it support surrounding, like adding, removing parentheses? So the answer is a little bit complicated. I'm using the Helix keybinds. And for those, we have, for example, match around word. But then there should be match, I think, I don't remember if it's I or S in Helix, but it's not implemented. So long story short, the Helix keybind for this stuff is not implemented. But the editor in general does support this kind of stuff. So the other layers might have this already implemented or might not. But if you join the flow control Discord and ask around, chances are that people will tell you um, if it's present or not. And if it's not present, Neurosite is always very responsive to feature requests if people need stuff. And it's a reasonable thing to ask. Or alternatively, there might be a different way of doing this that I'm just not aware of. Like maybe a way of taking a selection and then creating two cursors at the beginning and the end of the selection, and at which point you can do stuff. But I don't know. The Helix method is based on using match surround add match whatever, and that is not implemented for now. Okay, let's continue with the translation of probabilities. So for every attribute counter we're supposed to put in, what are we saying? If it has one specific bit up, oh my god, what is this bit fiddling, man? Okay, I think this is the case where we make up the attribute name at random. This one makes the attribute name at random. This one should pick it from either the element specific attribute list or the global attribute list. Okay, so how does this look like then? It's a Boolean choice essentially. So it starts by deciding which case we want to be in. So Smith, Boolean weighted. Um, I think we want selection to coming up with a random name to be again like a 5 to 1, which also means that I'm swapping around these cases. So I'm saying that this is this case and this is this case. Actually, wait, no, because this is false to true. Never mind. Oh wait, I need to remember. This is 1 to 5 then. Okay. Yeah. 1 to 5. And then yeah, so that means that we do want to swap them around. Okay. Let's do the random case first. The random case is essentially you're grabbing a slice. So var buff is gonna be how long do we make the attribute name, random attribute name? How long can it be at most? I don't know. 64 bytes. Then we do const attribute name is going to be buff 0 dot dot smith dot slice. Oh, and then we have to decide if it has a value or not. Okay. So name is utter name. And then there's the value problem. Okay, you use this method outside of testing in Zig. I would say probably yes. I haven't done this myself yet, but I would assume so. Ultimately, a Smith takes a random input, like a source of randomness, and turns that into values. So yeah. So render attribute has a boolean to decide whether this thing has a value or not. How does it work though for values? If it has value, we say no value, empty string, a string with something named model. Oh, there we go. So we do pass around information about the attribute dot rule, and then we have some values based on the rule. Huh. Okay, so we're gonna have to pass this myth down here as well. I'm going to finish this case first, so I'm gonna do the other stuff up here. As for has value, why do we decide it out here? I'm not sure, but that's one way of doing it. And actually, we can pull this out since this is shared by both cases. We put it in here. Not needed anymore. Not needed anymore. Hmm. Uh, okay, so here I think oh, you know what, I think this was a 50-50, and now this is meant to be a 50-50 because I'm checking one bit, and that bit I believe is chosen at random. So I see now what I was doing. I was just consuming one bit, but it's meant to be 50-50. So do we choose an element attribute or an global attribute? So the element has to have attributes defined for it, otherwise there's nothing that we can choose from, which is fair. And we can do Smith dot bool. So let's leave it 50-50. Sorry, value bool. So we leave it as a 50-50. And then here we are picking. We are picking an attribute from the list of attributes. So this would be more like Smith dot value range less than type view size at least 0 less than authors dot list dot length. Now render author. Oh, this down below, same thing, except this is attribute global list length. Now we pass down the Smith. Same here. Oh, then there's the else case. The else case. Oh shit! Look, we are breaking BLK with name, but the problem is that name. Oh, in this case, this is fine because name comes from tags. But down here, this is a problem. Down here, this is a problem. So I think we need a name buff essentially up here, right? No, because this also lives in the stack. Hmm. And the problem is that we have an arena. We don't have. Well, that sucks. I think we need to pass around also an arena at this point. Actually, maybe an arena even more than a GPA. Because otherwise we're not going to be able to solve this uh, issue with the lifetime of name. So if name comes from the list of existing tags, that's all fine. Problem though is if we make the name up on the spot, then this guy, the new version of this guy, it's not gonna be a value that is long lived much. And we could just heap copy it. That's fine, but then we have memory leaks between runs, which is not good. So I think we need to pass an arena also. We need to pass GPA and then the arena, and we put these names in the arena. I'm building my own language final concept. Oh, why is this link? Why is this link not picking up GitHub.com? Interesting. Ooh, you're doing slash for namespace navigation. Interesting. Wait, where's the chat server? Okay. Mm-mm-mm-mm. So how do we deal with string creation? Um, we can either put it in a buffer and copy it, or we can heap allocate the buffer directly. I think heap allocating the buffer directly is not a bad idea. Yeah, like this. Okay, so we have one more case and then render attributes. Add or push erroneous end tag. Okay, so this is a 50-50 of whether we try to pop or not from the stack. So Smith dot value bool. And then I think this is another 50-50. Actually, no, this is just saying whether we are in range of tags or not. Okay. Let's make this an explicit choice. So we decide whether we want to put something, a closing tag that exists, or whether we want to make an make up one from, yeah. So T is going to be Smith dot value range at no, range less than 0 less than tags.len. So we choose at random a tag. Otherwise, something like this. Okay. So this is done. Okay, render attribute. Prints the name. If not has value returns. Otherwise, oh man. Else unreachable. So essentially, this is another U2 uniform distribution that we're doing here. There's no more else. Hello. Hello, Nate. So one return, no value, empty string, not empty. And this could be made better because we could also do double quotes or some other stuff of this kind. But anyway, let's see, model rule, apply rule semantically. Yeah. So this is coming up with a random value. So it's essentially this, except this is called value. And this could be longer than 64 bytes if we wanted to, but 64 is still a lot. So, okay. So list rule completions. Right. If this is a rule that has a list of options, then we alternatively we choose one of those, which is myth dot value range less than. Then in case of course, I guess it's the same as this. It's the same as before, just with regard towards for thing here. And here, same thing. Okay, now generate does not work anymore. I'm taking it out. So there's a fast test now. Okay, this, let's see. This part is fine. This part is fine. There's no more error.done, so how does it work? Apply, and then we catch unreachable, I guess. Now here, we're not running scripty. Here we are running Super HTML. Now, what do we do with Super HTML? I guess we want to build an AST, and then we want to call format on it. I had this testing stuff somewhere. The problem is that I think I deleted all those files, so I don't have code that I can copy anymore. But yeah, it's something like this. Source. Fuck. Is the written language is I think it's .html. Syntax only. False. Okay. We probably need to try that init. Okay. And then we need to do if AST dot has syntax errors. So if it does not have syntax errors, then I think we want to run fmt on it. So how does this work? So there's a dot formatter. Let's see. This returns a formatter. So it's ast.render. So if you have a writer, you do ast.render. Render source is going to be case.written. Writer is going to be fmt out writer. And so this already could be good. We could even do the do a double cycle where we format this and test that formatting a already formatted input doesn't change it. Like basically we test for stability. But for now it's fine. Let's see if we can get this working for now. So I think I'm gonna change this from generator to just fuzz. Also, what's in generator.zig? Yeah, it's the main function. It's not particularly interesting for us right now. So goodbye generator. Move generator HTML to fuzz.zig. Okay, so now we have fuzz.zig. I think we need to change the build script. Set up a generator step. Yeah, we don't do that anymore. There's no generator step anymore. But fuzz.zig needs to be referenced from root.zig, I guess. Import a file outside module path. Right. Yeah, let's see what problems we have now. IO file SDR. Oh, so there's some CLI issues because of music. That actually surprises me that I didn't fix these already. I did pull, right? Yeah. Okay, I thought I fixed all this stuff. I guess maybe not. Well, okay. So let's do this. Run with watch. Well, yeah, this guy definitely does need IO. That's for sure. CLI logging has no log file in main. Yeah. Mm, 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 mm. This is a problem though, because this is fine to create here. This one, I don't know. I think it's fine because it's streaming. Hmm. Well, let's see what the compiler has to say. Better two arguments. Yeah. Oh no, wait. We do one to keep BLK, I guess, around. What's the next problem? Expected an IO writer. Find a const writer. Okay, there we go. Now we're back to our fuzzing errors. Expected 5 arguments, found 4. Right, this guy wants also an arena. Oh, which we did have before and I deleted it. Damn. Type does not have a fixed bit size. Range less than. Fuzz 117. Type does not have a fixed bit size, U size. Okay. I think I did this also somewhere else. Show me whenever I say U size. Okay. Expected type U32 found U size. God damn it, man. Happy now? Happy. There we go. Fuzz leaked one allocation. AST. Hello. Okay. So it builds. So let's fuzz now. Attempt to unwrap error done. Attempt to unwrap error done. Okay, wait. Panic. Attempt to unwrap error done. Okay, where do we do a return? Okay, so we have a bunch of else return error dot done. But I think we can just return and that's it. The error dot done stuff is not really interesting. I guess the return error dot done was useful. No, I think I get it. So basically, we have a list of commands. It makes us go up, but then there's no. You know what? No, we do want to keep error dot done. Because we want to. Yeah, we want to avoid collecting a bunch of commands that are no ops. So that means that in here, well, we do want the switch. Something kind of stuck in starting Fuzzer. So some are running, I guess. Some are seem stuck. Speed 1 run per second. That is not a lot. Okay, we need to figure out we might be doing something wrong. Is it weird that I really like the new IO solution for async await stuff, but I'm a bit conflicted on the rest of the stuff that was placed there, especially the buffer logic inside IO specifically feels more implicit than explicit as the Zig philosophy. When you're doing IO, buffering is essentially necessary. In before this change, before gluing buffers to the interface, back when you were to essentially you had to wrap a writer into a buffered writer, and same with buffered reader for readers manually. There were whenever people forgot about this, they would eventually discover that yeah, they were supposed to add buffering to their input output stuff. Yeah, and then they realized that would give them a 10x, 20x, 100x performance increase. So in practice, you do want to have buffering. And then if you have these interfaces work off of function pointers, you want the buffering to be above the function pointer, not behind the function pointer. So once you lock in those two choices, you don't have a lot of other options. Still, if you don't like buffering, pass an empty buffer to your interfaces, and that works. Well, that generally works because there might be, and this is actually kind of nice. There might be some interfaces that instead require you to pass in a buffer. For example, when you have an interface that deals with compression, and let's say that the compression algorithm wants to have a window of at least 2 kilobytes worth of data before it tries to compress it. Um, then that can become a requirement that that interface makes to the user, meaning that the interface requires that the user passes in at least a buffer that is at least 2 kilobytes big. Um, so I don't know. I there are many reasons why it's not a bad idea to do things this way. Um, I don't see any big reason why not to do it this way. Other than one could argue, well, maybe they preferred back when reader and writer interfaces were not runtimey; they were like generic interfaces. But that is a more complicated story, I think. So, like, you can put in question that choice, but if unless you're putting in question that choice, then everything else that comes from having runtimey interfaces for reader and writer kind of tends to be a series of choices that naturally fall into place, in my opinion. Okay, so why are we looping forever? What the heck is going on with our stuff? Hello, Iridescence. Twitch doesn't allow you to send messages. Twitch does not allow you to send messages. I don't even see your message in the admin view. So yeah, I don't know what's up with that. So why is my fuzzer not fuzzing? Why is my fuzzer not looping? So let me reset the Zig cache. I think that's a good starting point. Fail to create tmp/libfuzzer.log. That seems jank. Uh, well, we do have it now. So why is this failing? We do have libfuzzer. Oh, I guess it crashed the first time and now it runs. And now it is running. Not doing a ton of runs per second, but it is running. Is there anything interesting that we can see in that log? No. Um, I think there's some help with debug stuff. So we could do debug RT for the fuzzer. I think that might give us some login from the fuzzer. Enable debug in the compiler. I don't think that is necessary for the fuzzer. Let's see if this does what I hope it does. The vtable is gonna shrink. Right now the vtable is big because there's a bunch of operations that have like ad hoc functions. That is because the I don't know what to call it. The task-based async was implemented first, but then a lower level operation-based async was implemented afterwards. And basically, the vtable will turn into I don't know precisely how many functions, but like much fewer than those. And they will essentially all operate on a operation union. So I don't think we're really going anywhere with this fuzzing stuff. Or rather, actually, wait, to be fair, um, it is fine for it not to find crashes immediately because Super HTML has already been fuzzed, so it's not like a pile of bugs. At least not to the degree where you just turn on a fuzzer and it immediately finds something. That being said, unique runs are not going up. Coverage is not really going up. Oh yeah, sorry. I switched to I assume that this comment on the huge V table was about IO and not like the reader V table or the writer V table. Mm, yeah, we're not making any fucking progress. Like we're kind of stuck. Also, so we're definitely not doing a lot of runs. And we're not getting coverage and we're not getting unique runs. Yeah, the this is not great. I think that the puzzle stuff still needs some work. Like right now, it's just not doing like what surprises me right now is that we're not even making progress with the Smith. And also, where the heck can I see the progress? I want to see what's being tested. I want to see what is being tested. There's a lot of garbage here. There really is a lot of garbage. So wait, if I start this again, will it print stuff in here? No, because I think this file get like recreated. This guy seems to not change at all. Oh, there's a crash. So this causes a crash? Oh. He produced more than 5 new lines, which returned error.skip, which I guess is not being recognized as a special error by the fuzzer. So this is not interesting. Okay, so these are the test cases. Why are they all crap though? They're not supposed to be all crap. We're going through the Smith. Oh, although you know what? Maybe this is wait. Maybe this is the raw input. This is the maybe the input before it goes through the Smith, which is understandable. Yeah, but I would like to be able to see what this stuff corresponds to. God damn it, man. So let's create a file. Let's create a temporary file and let's print the temporary file. I feel like we're missing. We're missing tools to do introspection because we obviously need to be able to do introspection past the Smith point to see if the inputs that we're generating are what they're supposed to be. Problem number one. Problem number 2, um, we can't print to standard out, we can't print to standard error, we can't do shit, which is bad. So let's open a file and let's put this stuff in the temp file. Exclusive, lock non-blocking, permission, read, resolve, beneath, truncate. I think we want truncate. Yeah, I think we can leave truncate true. Let's do truncate false. And then we want a streaming writer. Oh, we're missing a try probably. Or actually, we could do writer streaming, or we could pass around the file and just do streaming write all. Hmm. Hmm. I think it's fine. Writer streaming, SSD testing, IO, empty buffer. Kind of hacky, but hopefully it works. So fuzz, context any type, and then type of context. Yeah. So context. It can literally be just a pointer to an IO.writer. No. This is like this. File writer. Okay, file writer.interface. Call it log. So here we can do. Oh shit! Wait, what file am I modifying? Oh no, I'm modifying the wrong file. Wait a second. It's the super HTML stuff that we need to modify. Okay, there you go. So here we can do log print There we go. Oh, there's another thing called log. God damn it. Al. All right, this is the outer thing. Okay, so let's see how this goes. So here I'm gonna do. Well, let's start the fuzzer and let's see if Zig build test fuzz. Does this create our log file? It did. Okay. So now we see some stuff. Now here's a question. Why is this not going forward though? And we have all these fuzzing going on. Yeah, we're keep going though. Dude, come on, let's go. Why does it get stuck? On-stalled. I think on-stalled is a bug. The fuck is on-stalled? Oh no. Actually, maybe it's real. The heck? Where are we? Is this a global attribute? On-stalled is a global attribute? I do not believe it. Holy shit, it is. Never mind. It's not a bug. So yeah, this is not going great. This is definitely not going great. Also, I'm curious. Why is this oh wait, the number is going down. Okay, so the number is going down because the sampling because we just stopped. We straight up stopped. That's why the number is going down. I think this should show a speed over a smaller window. This window is way too big. Okay, we straight up get stuck. That's what happens. Okay. So I guess this is the state of fuzzing. Not exactly usable yet. Well, so here's what I think I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna call it a day. We didn't do much today, I understand, but I cannot jump into a super long stream straight up if I if I'm just coming back from being sick. So be patient. We did do though. So we did push some work that we needed to push already. That's for sure. That's nice. We did test the fuzzing stuff a little bit. I think that there are some critical issues that need to be looked after. I think that for the next stream, I want to look at Zine and Awebo and take a look more directly at all the regressions that relate to translate C and make sure that we have that we make an issue for each, so that translate C has an opportunity of well learning what the problems are and fix them. So yeah, I think this is it for me. Um, what can I say before I leave? I don't know. I hope you had a good time. Such is life. Sometimes things work out. Sometimes things sometimes things don't. And yeah, I think I'm gonna pass the baton to Ethernet cable. Sorry. I think going forward, pretty much on the other side of the plant. Yeah, that probably does not help, does it? I will do longer streams going forward. But today I so if I'm not already on a like streaming streak, it's hard to do more than 2 hours, 2 hours and a half. It takes a lot of energy. So I don't want to overdo it. So for now, short stream. Going forward, maybe there will be longer streams. Well, thank you all for hanging out, and I'll see you next time. Let's raid Ethernet cable. So go have fun, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.